Are you a prisoner of your past? Do you feel like your past has given you a life sentence for your future? That it's something that you can't escape? Do you feel broken? Like you need to be fixed all the time? Like you're consistently and constantly looking for forms of approval and love outside of yourself? Me too. I spent my entire adult life pissed. Just so angry about my past. And I 100% thought that the life I had lived as a child and as a teenager was the life I would always live. And that I was a prisoner to that, to the circumstances, to the things that I thought life had given me. Till I realized one day that I wasn't a prisoner, and that I wasn't broken, and that I didn't need to be fixed, and that the only love and acceptance that I needed was from myself. With that being said, it took a really long time for me to get to that point, and it took a lot of work, and it took a lot of healing, and we're going to get back to that word healing because it's something that I didn't know existed outside of the physical sense of healing. So let's take you back. Let's take you back to when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And I grew up as an overweight child, and my earliest memories are of me feeling broken and that I needed to be fixed. And it had really nothing to do with my family. My family always wanted the best for me. They're so loving, like so much love to the point where you kind of feel smothered by their love. That's how loving they are. So I grew up very well taken care of and very, very loved. But I grew up overweight, and my family always wanted the best for me. So starting at around the age of 6 or 7, I started seeing people that were trying to help me. I went to child psychologists. I went to child outreach centers. I saw pediatricians at specialty hospitals. I saw nutritionists. I saw trainers. I tried every diet from South Beach to Weight Watchers to Jenny Craig to Atkins, every system out there, every shake out there, you name it, I did it. And that all started at the age of 6. So you can only imagine as a 6-year-old child and a 7-year-old child and 8, 9, 10, and you know, as the years go on, what that did to me and to my subconscious and what I had programmed in my brain. As I'm growing up, all that's being programmed is that I'm broken and I need to be fixed and that I can't do it on my own and I need an outside source to help me, to fix me, to save me, because I was headed down this downward slope and I just felt like I was drowning. I consistently and constantly felt like I was drowning and that no matter what I did, I would never be fixed. So with that came yo-yo dieting, because I always thought I didn't have what it takes to consistently keep the weight off. So I would lose a little bit of weight and I would gain it back, and I would lose more weight and I would gain it back, and then again kept this cycle of thoughts going in my head. You're broken and you need to be fixed. You cannot fix yourself. You need to keep looking outside of yourself. Keep looking out there. Keep looking out there. You need to find someone or something or some program or some coach or something that is going to fix you because you are broken and you don't know how to fix yourself. And you're probably sitting there thinking, that's a lot for a 6-year-old. It was. And granted, at that age, I didn't know that that was what was being programmed in my subconscious. I just thought people were trying to help and that I was fat and they were trying to help me get healthy, yet I wasn't putting in the effort. Shame on me, right? Shame on me for eating candy and chocolate and chips and having fun at my friends' birthday parties and wanting to eat fast food and all that stuff. I thought it was always my fault. I never thought genetics. I never thought body systems. I never thought any of that stuff as a child. I just thought everyone else is trying to help me and I can't help myself. So I'm going to keep searching and looking and finding something out there that can fix me. And it always came down to a body level. It never was healing my soul. It never was healing the brain. It was always, what can I do to fix the outside so I can be accepted on the outside? So now as a child growing up, you know, I wasn't even really bullied because I was fun and I always put up this hard, rough and tough exterior by using my humor and by letting people in just enough to not let them hurt me. So childhood wasn't that bad. But I knew I was different. I knew something was wrong. I never really felt joy because I always quit. I don't know how to ride a bike to this day. I'm 33 years old because I didn't allow myself, because I thought, if I can't lose weight and if I can't keep it off, who am I to think that I can ride this bike? I would get on the bike and I would start pedaling a little bit and then I would fall. I would get back on and I would fall. So I quit. And I literally did that with every sort of extracurricular activity throughout my childhood and my adolescence, because I was set on, I cannot succeed. I always fail, because that's what I had been told, and that's what I had been telling myself, is that no matter what I do, I will continue to fail. So I just stopped trying. I always looked, and I hesitate because this is a part of my story that not a lot of people know and stuff that I haven't really talked about before, but I always looked for love outside of myself. I never thought the love that was within me was enough. And like I said, my family loved me like crazy. But I continued to look for love everywhere else. And the only love that I ever found was artificial. And it was superficial. I was never anyone's girlfriend. I was everyone's side piece. The boys I had in my life as a teenager and as a young adult were usually ashamed of falling for the fat girl. That I was always kept a secret. We would meet at night when no one else was around. We would talk secretly on the phone. And that hurt. And that put a really big imprint on my heart, and a really big thought of, no one's ever going to love you the way that you are. So I graduated high school. I went to college. Same thing. I dropped out of university. I came home and I had weight loss surgery at 18 or 19, one of those years. Came home, my parents said, we've tried everything. Why don't you try having weight loss surgery? So I went, I met a doctor. I had a lap band put in my stomach. And for those of you that don't know what a lap band is, it's a restrictive. So what it does is they put a little band at the top of your stomach and it creates like a bubble. And that bubble on top is what the food goes into, and you feel full faster. So it's like a portion control system. So I had the lap band put in and I lost a lot of weight. I lost about close to 100 pounds, and I thought, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. This is when my joy comes in. This is when I'm supposed to feel like myself. This is when I'm at my happiest. And the complete opposite happened. I was still miserable. I was still seeking love from everyone else, and I was still seeking validation from everyone else, and all I got was a shitstorm of nothing. Yeah, I was skinny, but I was still being used. I still had no self-worth. I was still chasing men that I shouldn't have been chasing because I didn't love myself. So that was hard. And then I met my husband. I met my husband when I was at my skinniest. But I had never in my life felt such unconditional love. No matter what I looked like, no matter what I felt like, no matter what I said, no matter what I did, he loved me for me. He loved my quirks, he loved my craziness, he loved my curves, he loved me. With that came comfort. With the comfort came back the weight. When I started gaining weight again, that whole programming came right back. You're broken, girl. You are broken and you need to be fixed. And I pushed it far, far away. And I said, you know what? If I'm broken, leave me broken. So I stayed broken. I got married, I got pregnant, I gained more weight, and I gained more weight, and I gained more weight. I had my babies. I have twin boys that are now 6. I was my happiest and my most miserable all at the same time. I started a business and it brought me joy, but it just wasn't enough. I kept seeking still for validation. I kept looking for friends and comrades and colleagues to be like, good girl, way to go, keep on going, you're killing it, you're doing great, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I would get it, and I would still feel this void, and I would still feel empty, and I would still feel so sad and so broken. I kept telling myself, you know, you've gotten this far in this business that you've started, but this is probably as far as you're going to get. Like, you're going to fail. Because that's what I always did. I would try, and I would try, and I would fail, and I would fail, and then I would give up on myself. It was a pattern that I had created, and I allowed that pattern to continue. Fast forward a few more years, my kids are 4 years old. They've just started junior kindergarten, and I'm like, hey, it's time for me again. It's time for my life again. And I sat and I wallowed in my misery day in and day out. I'd moved to a new city. I didn't know anyone. I was miserable. And I kept telling myself, you're broken. And you need to look outside of yourself to be fixed. And I went to friends and I kept telling them, you know, like, I'm not feeling right. I don't feel like myself. I feel lost. I feel alone. And they said to me, and I had one friend say to me, I think it's time to heal. I looked at her and I went, excuse me? She goes, you need to heal that inner child. Because, girl, you're telling me you're broken and I don't see any breaks in you. You're not an appliance. You don't need to be plugged in. You're not broken. That little girl is hurting. And I went, what little girl? Like, I'm a 30-year-old woman standing in front of you. I don't see any little girls. And she goes, the little girl inside. That little girl that is still sitting in her bedroom crying and sobbing because she doesn't feel good enough. Because she feels broken. And everyone is telling her that she needs to be fixed. So we came back to the word healing. Healing is the process of becoming sound or becoming healthy again. And I always, again, thought that it was in a physical sense. After you have surgery, you got to heal, whatever. But no, she said to me, you need to heal on the inside. Your heart needs to be healed and your soul needs to be healed. And that little girl that you still have those memories of, she's still sad. She still needs to be healed. So I went, okay, how do I do that? And she said, do this. And this moment right here, I'm telling you right now, is exactly what has changed and transformed my life. I closed my eyes. She said, close your eyes. Close my eyes. She said, picture yourself as that little girl. In your bedroom, at a park, wherever. Just let her show up wherever she is, wherever she wants to be. So I let her show up. She said, now picture yourself as an adult right now, you, as you are, standing in front of that child. I said, okay. I see her. I see me. She goes, now lean in and give that child a hug. A really strong, full of love. You know, just when someone gives you a hug and they're one of like the best huggers and you're like, oh my gosh, this hug feels so good. One of those. Give that child a hug. So I gave her a hug and I started to sob because I could feel her energy. And I could feel how hurt she was. And how alone she felt. And how she never felt comfortable in her own skin. She never thought anyone could love her. She never thought that she was good enough. So she said, okay, I see that you're crying and that's a good thing. Now I want you to disconnect from that hug. I want you to look yourself as a child in the eyes. And tell her all the things you wish you had heard as a child. So I did. I told her she was loved. I told her that she would find unconditional love. That she was worthy. That she was beautiful. And that she was perfect. Exactly the way that she is. And I continued. So my friend said, okay, say goodbye. Give her another hug. Tell her she'll be okay. And say goodbye. So I did. And yet I continued to sob and to sob and to sob. But the next day I woke up. I didn't feel broken anymore. I had like this click, this epiphany of, I'm in control. So I took control. So January of 2018, I told myself that I was done being miserable, and that if something in my life wasn't bringing me joy, it was getting cut out of my life, and that I was going to start bringing joy into my life. So I did, and I started creating little goals for myself. First one was get a gym membership, because I knew if I got my body, and because my mind was clear, but my body wasn't. So I knew that this energy that I had, because emotion is just energy in motion, and I know the emotions that I had held as a child were stuck to me as weight. So I knew I had to do something about that, and that something was get a gym membership. So I started going to the gym. So first, step one was get a gym membership, check. Step two was start going to the gym, check. And then I started going to the gym 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And I created this routine, and it brought me so much joy. I started a new business. I left a business that I wasn't feeling good in anymore. And everything I did brought me joy. And with that joy came me. And I stopped seeking for approval and validation from everyone else and love from everyone else. It was finally about me. It was about me taking center stage, and it was about me finding my passion, and it was about me finding my joy, and I did. And from that, I've lost over 100 pounds. From that, I've launched 3 new businesses. From that, I am now at my absolute best, mind, body, and soul. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, I'm like, and you're a prisoner of your past, and you're thinking that you cannot get out of it, that you are a product of your circumstances, I'm telling you right now, you are a product of the choices that you make day in and day out. You are a product of what you want. So if you want to be healthy, make that choice. If you want to be happy, make that choice. If you want to live a life of abundance, make that choice. You are in control. I took back my control. I took the keys, I turned on that ignition, and I went for it. So if you're sitting there and you're losing yourself, stop looking outside of yourself. Start looking in here. Stop being in denial. Look in here, find what hurts, and go and make that change. So now it's consistent evolution and a consistent healing and a consistent pace of finding myself all over again, finding the love I have for myself all over again. And I'm on version 5.0 at this point, and I keep evolving every day, and it's magical, and I want that for you. So get out there, find your version 5.0, and find your joy, because you deserve it.